My husband's family tradition is going to ruin our son's life. I was 7 months pregnant when my father-in-law presented a legal contract stating our firstborn son must be named Bartholomew Cornelius Henderson IV, or we'd be removed from the $8 million family trust. I laughed until I realized nobody else at the dinner table was laughing. My husband Ryan's family had named every firstborn son Bartholomew Cornelius for over a century. Ryan was the second son, so he got to be Ryan. His older brother got stuck with Bartholomew and goes by Bart. When we announced the pregnancy, Ryan's father stood up with champagne and said, "To Bartholomew IV." I thought he was joking. He wasn't. That night, I told Ryan there was no way I was naming our son that. He agreed immediately. We decided on Oliver. His parents started showing up daily with monogrammed baby items, custom wooden blocks spelling Bartholomew, a hand-carved crib with BCHIV engraved on the headboard. They redecorated their guest room with Bartholomew painted on the door. Ryan's father sat us down with the trust documents. Either we complied or Ryan would be cut off entirely. The whole family got involved. Aunts called crying. His grandfather flew in from Arizona. Ryan's brother said, "Look, it sucked for me, but you get used to it." Ryan started cracking. After weeks of harassment, he said, "Maybe we could use it as a middle name." His parents dangled $500,000. They'd pay off our house, give us a new car, set up a college fund. Ryan started looking at houses online. Then I went into early labor at 34 weeks. The baby's heart rate kept dropping, and suddenly I was in emergency surgery. When I woke up 8 hours later, Ryan was holding our son. He was crying. He handed me the birth certificate and whispered, "I'm so sorry." The name on it was Bartholomew Cornelius Henderson IV. Ryan said the doctors told him I might not make it. His parents told him it was what I would have wanted. He was terrified and just signed everything. I told him to leave. The nurse asked if I needed to enforce visitor restrictions. I nodded. I spent 3 days calling my son Oliver while every nurse read his chart and said Bartholomew. A patient advocate gave me a card for a family lawyer. When I got home, Ryan's parents had a banner saying, "Welcome home Bartholomew" on our porch. I didn't get out until Ryan took it down. The lawyer said birth certificate amendments were legally viable when one parent signed during a medical crisis. She needed documentation. I spent 2 weeks gathering evidence. Every text pressuring us, every email about the trust, photos of monogrammed items. Ryan wrote a timeline documenting the harassment. His parents sent a check for $500,000 saying it was ours if we dropped the petition. My lawyer told me to add it to our evidence. Ryan's therapist asked him to write a letter to our son. The last paragraph said choosing Oliver over family money was the hardest and rightest thing he'd ever done. The court hearing happened when Oliver was 6 weeks old. I testified about waking from surgery to find my son named something I'd never agreed to. Ryan testified about his parents exploiting his fear. My lawyer presented everything: the pressure campaign, the contract offer, the hospital circumstances. The judge ruled in our favor. Our son's legal name became Oliver James. Ryan's father called an hour later. We were removed from the trust, no inheritance, no relationship. Ryan said he felt lighter than he'd felt in months. We donated every monogrammed item. Ryan bought a frame at Target for $12. We printed Oliver's name and hung it in the nursery. 3 months later, we were exhausted and broke, but functioning. Ryan picked up freelance work. I went back part-time. Last Tuesday night, I was feeding Oliver when I looked up at that frame. He was almost asleep in my arms. The house was quiet, except for Ryan washing bottles. I thought about everything we'd lost: the trust fund, the family relationships, the security. But Oliver had the name we chose together. He'd grow up knowing his parents fought for him. Ryan came in and sat next to me, putting his hand on my shoulder. We didn't say anything, just sat there with our son who had the right name. That $12 frame meant more than any amount of money his family could have given us. It meant we'd figured out what mattered and we'd fought for it, and we'd won.